Tonight, Friday Night SmackDown once again emanates from the Amway Center in Orlando, Florida, inside the WWE Thunderdome. It's the go-home episode of Friday Night SmackDown before Hell in a Cell this Sunday. It's also SmackDown not on Fox this week, so it's on FS1 due to, I think, Game 3 of the World Series or something like that. But in this video, what we're going to talk about the court case. Oh, great. Yes, amazing. We're going to talk about the court case for Otis's Money in the Bank contract. They're calling it Law and Otis because sports-centric presentation, which is what Fox wants, of course. Fox Sports 1, it's called, and we're having Law and Otis on SmackDown tonight. It's going to be great. But obviously, this is the court case in which we're going to see Otis defend his Money in the Bank contract against The Miz. Now, of course, The Miz and John Morrison at this point are on Monday Night Raw. So they're feuding with a guy on SmackDown for the Money in the Bank briefcase, which is exclusive to a SmackDown superstar right now, against a superstar on Raw. They're having the court case on SmackDown. The draft was only 2 weeks ago, and already they're screwing up the lines and blurring the lines of this brand split once again. What is the point? What is the point? What is the point of all of this? What is the point of the brand split? What is the point of splitting up the rosters? What is the point of anything at this point? I mean, I say this all the time. Sometimes you can't look for logic. You can't look for logic when it comes to WWE because you will struggle to find it. You will very much struggle to find it when it comes to logic sometimes in WWE. But come on. This is stupid. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And the story in this is that The Miz is trying to ruin Otis, essentially. He got Mandy Rose traded to Raw because of his relationship with the USA Network. He then got Tucker traded to Raw because of his relationship with the USA Network. Then The Miz and John Morrison themselves get drafted to Monday Night Raw during the draft in the brand split. And then Otis was drafted and remains on SmackDown as Mr. Money in the Bank. When it comes to Otis, look, I'm not going to shy away from this. When Otis first won the Money in the Bank briefcase, when was that? May, around May time, I was willing to give it a chance because I genuinely felt at the time, I felt like Otis was over. This is at a time, remember, on SmackDown, they were struggling so much for babyfaces. You had Braun Strowman as the Universal Champion. You had no Roman Reigns because he was off. Obviously, he didn't feel comfortable performing in the pandemic. And you had no one else. Jeff Hardy had just returned. You didn't have a Matt Riddle that had debuted on SmackDown at the time. They had nothing for babyfaces on SmackDown. Literally nothing. They had Braun Strowman. So when Otis won the Money in the Bank briefcase, I thought, you know what? Coming off of this storyline that he had with Dolph Ziggler and Mandy Rose at WrestleMania, I thought, you know what? There is something there. There is something there. And I don't think I was the only one that felt, you know what? There is something there when it comes to Otis. You know, there was the comedy side of him, and there is the comedy side of him. But I felt with that storyline with Dolph Ziggler, I felt, you know what, there is something there. And that moment at WrestleMania where he got the girl, he got Mandy Rose, and he had his match against Dolph Ziggler, it was a brilliant storyline. It was a fantastic storyline. And initially it was played for comedy, but it got serious. And you felt bad for Otis, and you hated Dolph Ziggler, and you wanted him to get together with Mandy Rose. And this was soap opera stuff, which usually WWE historically is just god-awful. I mean, god-awful. Look at the Mysterio and Seth Rollins thing right now. It's awful. But it worked. And I think a lot of people thought, you know what? Otis has this something about him. And he does. He does have this sort of intangible, you can't describe it factor quality that he's funny. He's funny and he's entertaining. And when he was having his tag matches with Heavy Machinery and he gets the hot tag when there's a crowd there, man, Otis would have him going. Because he's funny and he's likable and he can work, and I felt there might have been something there. Could he be world champion? I don't know, but I felt like at the time him winning the Money in the Bank was an opportunity to see what was there, and unfortunately it hasn't worked. It just hasn't worked. I think most people would say now Otis being a world champion or universal champion just is so far out of reality. You look at the world champions right now. Roman Reigns, is Otis going to beat Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship? No. Drew McIntyre on Raw, is he going to be WWE champion? No. Is he going to beat Drew McIntyre? No. Is he going to beat Randy Orton? No. It just isn't going to happen. And I don't necessarily blame Otis. I think hindsight's a wonderful thing, and it wasn't the right call. It wasn't the right call, and maybe they should have gone with a different person, maybe a safer bet. He's not the right guy, and now he's carrying around this Money in the Bank contract in a lunchbox, and it's got too much to the comedy side of things now. He's Chris Farley. He is Chris Farley. He is a walking fat joke in the eyes of Vince McMahon. And, he appears on Monday Night Raw dressed as the Mask. Again, the brand split, dead. He appears Monday Night Raw under the grass, was it El Gran Gordo, which roughly translates to the Fat Man. And The Miz cuts a heel promo on Otis Monday Night on Raw saying that the only reason people cheer for you is because they feel sorry for you. But, okay, that's fine. That works as a heel tactic. But in creative, you've got the creative calling him the Fat Man in Spanish. So every side's mocking him. He's mocking himself if he came up with that name. If his tag team partner's calling him the Fat Man, they're mocking him. It's backwards. And, it's one thing to get sympathy on him with The Miz saying, oh, they call you an underdog because they feel sorry for you, or you're a failure, or nobody likes you, or you're fat, and all this sorts. That's one thing. But you've got the creative calling him fat too. And it obviously is just what Vince McMahon sees in him. Vince McMahon sees him as a fat guy that's funny. And he is better than that. He is more than that. But does that make him a world champion? I don't think so. And I think at this point, getting the briefcase off him is probably the best thing to do. And there's been reports that there have been multiple pitches and scenarios. Some have actually been quite good in how we're going to get the briefcase off Otis. But there's one person that doesn't want the briefcase to come off of Otis, and that's Vince McMahon. And he's the most important guy. If Vince likes it, if Vince likes Otis, by all accounts, he's Otis' number one fan, he's keeping hold of that briefcase. Does that mean he's going to become world champion? I think eventually, push comes to shove, Vince has to make the call whether Otis is going to successfully cash in or not. And I think if Vince's back is up against the wall on this one, he knows in his heart of black hearts that Otis isn't going to be a world champion right now anyway. Who knows what, a couple of years' time, but he knows. And I think eventually he'll have to make the call of, right, we either switch the briefcase or he ain't winning. And I think both scenarios are likely, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised either way. Now, a lot of people said, well, this court case is the perfect way to get the briefcase off of him, because if The Miz holds the Money in the Bank briefcase, either scenario works, really. The Miz can cash in and he can be a credible world champion. He's been WWE champion before, a long time ago, and some people surprised he never got the shot to be, or never got another run as WWE champion. Like, he main evented WrestleMania. I mean, yes, it was one of the worst WrestleManias ever, but he main evented WrestleMania. He's a former WWE champion. He's done everything in the WWE. He's been there for years and years. I think a lot of people, myself included, that surprised, you know what, he maybe deserved another run, or does deserve another run as WWE champion. And I think maybe that's the problem with The Miz, is that he can slot in any second. If they need a heel to go into the main event and be WWE champion, or they need a heel to be in a main event feud, you can put The Miz in there any second and he'll do the job. So I think maybe that's the problem when it comes to The Miz. But if Miz did get the Money in the Bank briefcase through this court case, either scenario works. He can be WWE champion. He's done it before. He can cash in and lose. It doesn't do anything to The Miz. The Miz is bulletproof. He's been on WWE TV for years. He's been in his spot for years. Nothing's going to happen to The Miz. Miz doesn't have to worry about his spot. He's got 2 shows on the USA Network. He's got Miz and Mrs. He's got Cannonball. He is indispensable to WWE. Someone like The Miz, they can't afford to lose. There aren't many employees. Oh, I nearly said employees. Independent contractors. There isn't many independent contractors, professional wrestlers like The Miz out there for WWE. Just the company guy, the consummate professional, the long-term employee that does everything, does all the media. He can be trusted. And there aren't many like that. So he would be the perfect person. Personally, I would love to see, if they're going to shift the Money in the Bank briefcase to anyone in the court case, I'd love it to be John Morrison. I think everyone would. John Morrison, look, he's not getting any younger, even though he looks to appear to be getting younger. If you look at him, geez, Louise, he looks incredible. He's like 40 years old, and he's a world champion in Impact Wrestling. He's a world champion, I believe, in Lucha Underground. Look, this guy can be in the main event scene. I think everyone wants to see him in the main event scene. When John Morrison was returning to WWE, I think the exciting thing was, can we see some of the matches with John Morrison, Roman Reigns, John Morrison, Bray Wyatt, John Morrison, Ricochet again from Lucha Underground, all of that sort of stuff. And they put him back with The Miz. And I remember Chris Jericho in an interview saying it's obvious that Vince McMahon has a perception of every person. He has a perception. This is what Vince McMahon thinks of you. And when John Morrison left, Vince McMahon had a perception of him. John Morrison returned, the exact same perception of him of, you're with The Miz, you're doing the dirt sheet, you're doing this. That's it. And it feels like that's the same with John Morrison. So in terms of this court case tonight, look, I'm sure they'll play it up for comedy. We'll probably have some numerous funny stuff. El Gran Gordo. If The Miz appears on SmackDown, the brand split means nothing. I mean, it doesn't mean anything anyway, but it really means nothing. I mean, 2 weeks has to be a record for how quickly they've blown a brand split. That is pretty incredible. So I'm sure we'll see stuff like that. Do I think they're going to shift the briefcase? No, I don't. To be honest, I don't think so. I think they'll probably play this out for a couple of weeks anyway, but I just think if you think about that briefcase, it was the wrong call. It was the wrong call. But that's hindsight being a wonderful thing. But of course, as always, this is just one man's opinion. What are your thoughts on the Otis Money in the Bank court case, briefcase drama tonight? It's Law and Otis on SmackDown. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll be sure to respond and reply to all of your comments. Really enjoy interacting with you guys and talking about Friday Night SmackDown in the comments. If you have enjoyed this video, please do smash a like on the like button as well. Really does help us out here on YouTube, go up the rankings and get into people's recommendation feeds if they haven't seen our videos previously. But most importantly, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to Wrestling News 365. You can do that by clicking the bottom right hand corner of the screen right now, or if you wait a few seconds, there'll be a subscribe button at the end of this video along with another video for you to watch. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.